Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible, but when they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you unsatisfied? My name is Chris, and this is my colleague Jack, and we're senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Blink and Your Mythids. I hope you're having a good day. I hope my colleague Jack is having a good day as well. Hello Jack, how are you doing?
I'm doing relatively well. A bit exhausted about having to do a lot of personnel management, shall we say, right now. But
Okay.
yeah, that comes with the territory in my in our line of work, really, doesn't it? So
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no escape from it.
nah.
You don't choose middle management. Middle management chooses you.
Oh no, I can see the spectre of middle management approaching.
Oh no, get away.
But but how are you doing anyway? How's things been going with you lately?
You know, I've been doing fine. I've been a bit nostalgic recently and thinking about my career and how I ended up here. And yeah, I realized that this would actually make a pretty good episode, I guess.
Oh yeah.
My first encounter with anything ever as an official warden.
Oh, awesome.
So, yeah, this is kind of my origin story here. And
yeah.
It's gonna be extremely exciting. It's a chicken.
Excuse me?
Yeah. I mean, it's a fire-breathing chicken, but
oh, okay.
We'll get to that.
A fire-breathing chicken. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, did they start you off in a different department?
Well, they did, which is another problem, but yeah, not the chicken department.
No.
I was thinking, which country could we insult and offend this time with our pronunciation efforts? And I thought,
excellent.
How about a little trip to Japan for a change?
I mean, you've gone hard mode.
I mean, after Nahuatl, I think this is okay. I've done worse.
Oh, that seems like a motto.
Yeah. So, what we are talking about today, it is not called a chicken, but rather it's called Basan, or also sometimes called basa or fire rooster. I don't know if that rings any bells for you.
For me, actually, yeah, I will say, I think I have heard a little bit about it. It's one of those ones, again, where they haven't let me go near it, and I don't know why. Maybe it'll become apparent.
Have they told you it is extremely dangerous, maybe?
I mean, no, but that might be because that'll make me want to go see it even more.
Fair enough.
But no, they haven't told me much. I just know that it's a interesting creature to encounter.
Yeah, definitely, especially under the circumstances that I encountered them, but we'll get to that. You know how this podcast works by now.
Yeah.
Second part and everything.
Yeah, we've got a structure, guys.
We got a structure.
I know it doesn't seem like it, but we have a structure.
In no other part of my life do I have a structure, but at least here we pretend to have one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. The name apparently comes from an approximation of the sound their wings make when they flap, so it's kind of a onomatopoeia or whatever it's called.
Onomatopoeia.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a difficult word for a German to say.
It is, especially if you're no good at talk like me. Anyway, so it's supposed to mirror that kind of rustling sound that they make. They kind of do that when they're pleased or also when they're startled. They kind of ruffle their wings about, and that makes a very distinctive sound. It's kind of an eerie rustling, and it doesn't really sound like anything else in the forest. So if you're alone there and you're hearing that, it can be kind of creepy.
Okay.
But
well, it's the month for creepy.
Yeah. There's no reason to run away yet, usually. Another name for them is Inuho, which apparently translates to dog phoenix. And to be quite honest, I have absolutely no idea why, because I don't really see a dog in this thing.
Sorry, dog phoenix, as in woof woof dog.
Woof woof dog. At least that's what Google tells me. I'm not gonna question it.
Okay.
Yeah. If anyone does speak Japanese, then feel free to comment. It gives us engagement and knowledge.
I think that's one of those things where, you know, like someone gets like a Japanese or a Chinese character tattooed on themselves and they say they've been told it means like hope or soul, and it turns out it's like chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what I would say is probably going on there. But hey, you know, go nuts.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I've already said they live in Japan or come from Japan mainly. And they are kind of at home in mountainous regions, usually in kind of forests or maybe bamboo groves, stuff like that, where they have a little bit of room to hide and vegetation to hide behind and stuff like that. According to the myth, they are only found in the Iyo province, which is, I think today it's called the Ehime prefecture, or...
Okay.
I'm not sure. Better not go into this too much.
But they have a region.
At least according to the myths, they're at home on Shikoku, which is one of the main islands to the south of Japan. But really, at least today, we find that they have basically settled down in most of Japan, wherever they find mountains and forests and maybe some villages close by. They feel right at home.
I like it.
Yeah. They are mostly nocturnal creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And that is interesting because I already told you they are fire-breathing creatures, and you know that looks a lot more spectacular at night than it does at day. So
I mean, I don't know if you show me a rooster that's breathing fire, I'm going to say it's probably quite spectacular most times of day.
I mean, I guess.
I mean, that's just my opinion on the situation.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot more frightening when you're walking through the forest at night and suddenly everything goes up in flames.
All you hear is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Jack and Chris imitate animal noises.
I'm just imagining like Ghost Rider, but it's a chicken.
I mean, it's not too far off.
Amazing. I love it. Carry on, I want to know more.
They're not called a chicken, but they are quite comparable in terms of shape. You know, they have roughly the same body shape as a chicken, size about of a turkey, so a bit larger.
Okay, yeah.
And then it gets a little bit interesting because when it comes to their colors and feathers and stuff like that, there are a lot of different descriptions. So sometimes they just look like a chicken in terms of colors. Sometimes they are described having very bright colors or just blue and green colors, or sometimes even emitting light and all of that stuff. What most descriptions have in common is at least that they have a bright red comb, which looks kind of fiery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, other than that, it's all over the place, and some will tell you that they have bright red and orange feathers that look like tongues of flame and all that stuff.
Okay.
The truth is quite interesting because when I tell you another fact about them, maybe you can take a guess at why that is. You know, they can breathe fire, but they are usually quite peaceful. So they are not even, as far as I know, they are not even carnivores. So most of the time they take flight rather than fight. And they do that by way of, according to the myth, vanishing into thin air when they are seen.
So they just disappear from sight?
That's what the old stories will tell you, at least.
Okay. I'm not sure why, though. Especially if they've got the ability to breathe fire. You don't see a dragon running away. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get the idea that this is a much, much smaller creature than a dragon, but still.
I mean, they're peaceful creatures. I mean, maybe they don't want to burn you.
True. Well, come on then.
Yeah.
What is the truth behind it?
The truth behind it is they don't vanish into thin air. What is true that you are not going to see them anymore because, similar to a chameleon or an octopus, they're just very, very good at camouflage, basically. They kind of change their colors and textures to really blend into the environment and use that to get away from anyone who might be seen as a danger. And that, I would guess, is the reason why there are so many different descriptions about their colors, because they can basically just change them at will, or to match into the environment. And
okay. So they just change their feathers?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that's kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah.
And that just allows them to blend into their environment completely. So you are, unless you're looking for them or you fall over them, you're just not going to really spot them.
Exactly. They're so good at it that even if you're looking straight at them, depending on the environment, they can't fool you, because they don't just have normal feathers. Apparently, they can kind of also change the surface texture a bit, so they blend in even more and break up their silhouette a bit.
Ah, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's really cool to see, and it's also been very interesting to our research people, because if we could mimic that, that's obviously would be a pretty nice tool to have in our belt.
Yeah, that sounds actually like it would be very, very useful for many applications. I mean, do you think it's something that we could potentially use to cover like our reserves, or change it so that people don't go into certain areas because it looks like it's a rock face? Oh, there's so many applications. I've got so many ideas already. I'm going to be sending an email later.
So many. Problem is, if at least as far as I know, anytime they remove the feathers, they couldn't replicate the effects.
And I'm guessing it's quite hard to run ethical experiments on them when they're trying to burn your face off.
Yes, definitely. So we have been doing experiments here and there, and they usually get pampered quite a lot, so everything's fine there. But so far we haven't really gotten anywhere with that, but I'll get back to that in a minute.
Fair enough.
What do you think a creature such as this would eat?
So you said that, as far as you're aware, they're not even like predators. They don't go and chase people down, or not people, but.
By the way, there's no way you're gonna guess this.
Okay, so I've got to go weird.
Yes.
Do they eat air spirits?
No. But then that would be a sight to behold.
What about vegetation around them? Do they grill up a couple of tulips and eat them instead?
I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
They usually.
One more go.
Okay.
Do they go diving in the sea for kale?
No.
All right, I tried going in weird ways.
Yeah, you were actually quite close, or
damn it,
probably even there with the vegetation, more or less. They mainly eat charred woods and also embers, so they've found a way to kind of digest embers, or somehow use embers to aid in digestion, I guess, is a more accurate way to put it.
Oh, okay. So a little bit like a furnace inside their stomach.
I guess.
Probably not a furnace, but it's warm. It's warm.
It is warm. Yeah, they're very happy whenever there's a forest fire or something and there's a lot of burnt wood around. You can also see them sometimes if there's a village of people nearby. They will sometimes appear in the village, and wherever there was a bonfire or something, they're gonna scout around there and try to pick up charred wood and charcoal and stuff like that.
Oh, thank God you were talking about it being around like a bonfire or something. For a second, when you were talking about them going into villages, I thought, oh, they're just going to make their own charred wood out of people's houses.
No. They don't do that.
Not until the uprising.
Not until then. They have sometimes been conflated with the cockatrices as well, which is nonsense in two ways, because A, they have nothing to do with them, and B, even cockatrices don't really breathe fire. We've talked about them in the past a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know how these things work. It's just wherever there's kind of similar stories, then names kind of get just blended together, and suddenly creatures have 14 names, and one name means 14 creatures. And
well, I mean, you get the I can see the connection, especially if we're talking about the myth, because obviously the myth around the cockatrice is it breathes fire. Obviously, if this breathes a fire, is it a mini cockatrice? Or at least that's what a lot of people in the past might have thought. So I can see where the connection could be. But
of course,
there is. To those of us in the know, definitely, I can see that being stupid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, fun fact. If you're into Pokemon, apparently there is one named Torchic and its evolutions, which are based on the Basan, and basically chickens that breathe fire, and they found their way into popular media.
I think that was one of my starter Pokemon occasionally when I played the games. So yeah, cool. I can see it now. I can definitely see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Having said all that, how about we get to the second part of the podcast episode, and I tell you how I met them.
Yes, I am curious because I'm starting to get a bit of an idea why they probably won't let me near them. But I am kind of curious, and I'm also kind of curious as to how we find them.
I mean, finding them is not too hard, to be honest. You're gonna find them somewhere in the mountains, especially if you know where the colonies are. We've been tracking them for a while. Yeah, they don't really migrate around a lot, so once you know where they live, they basically just stay there unless someone decides to burn down the forest or something.
Okay. When you say someone, do you mean them?
No, I usually mean people. So, I mean, like full-on forest destruction, deforestation.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, have they ever really been like implicated in burning down vegetation and forests?
Not that I know of.
That does surprise me.
It does, doesn't it? It'll make sense in a minute.
Well, it makes me feel a little bit more annoyed that a random creature that has the ability to breathe fire causes less fires than we do, by the sounds of it. But okay, carry on.
Yeah. So as I said, it was way back when I was still basically a trainee, and I was being shipped around a bit between teams in different countries, shadowing people here and there and learning about some of the more common creatures that you're gonna encounter and stuff like that. And anyway, I was in Japan with a team to learn some things there, and they were teaching me about the Basan, and as I said before, we like to study them because of their curious abilities, and the problem is that they don't really breed well in captivity, so every now and then we kind of see that we find a large enough colony that it's not gonna hurt them, and we grab a couple of eggs or a younger specimen and just kind of cart them off to base so we can
we can investigate and we can look into them, but they live in I'm assuming they live in the lap of luxury when they come back.
They do, actually.
Good.
I've seen them actually get burnt mahogany and stuff like that. So just the finest treats.
Fair enough.
Just in exchange, sometimes they get to wait and recorded and stuff like that, and maybe a few feathers plucked. But
proper ethical investigations.
Yeah.
At least that's what we call it.
Exactly. So anyway, they tell me that it's time to get some of their eggs again, but the senior warden that was there told me that they know his scent already, so he couldn't go, and they told me that these things are very, very dangerous, so you have to avoid being spotted by them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean that does sound a little bit weird now that I say it, but
I smell a bit of hazing.
hindsight is 2020 and all that. Anyway, so my mission basically is my very first mission as an official solo warden out there is to basically sneak in there, grab a couple of eggs, take as many photographs as I can safely take of any Basan running around in the colony on my way. And yeah, the handbook was mysteriously missing a couple of pages, but they fill me in on anything that's missing in there.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. The most important piece of info was, of course, under no circumstances whatsoever let them see you, because, you don't want to get fire breathed on you and being burned to a crisp.
Yeah.
So, I was sent out there, and I didn't really question why that would be a job for a rookie, but
yeah.
Anyway, I get there with a, full ghillie suit, these kind of grassy-looking suits so I can blend into the forest floor and everything.
Sorry, they sent you in a dry, grassy-like suit.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't question it.
Okay.
I'm gonna be burnt anyway, so if I can avoid being seen, that's probably worth a trade or something.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have a radio on me, but we make sure to say we keep radio silent so the radio noise doesn't alert any birds near me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you look like you know where this is going, but
I suspect.
Anyway, there was, young Chris being terrified of these fire-breathing birds around me, sneaking for my life. Doing the full-on solid snake thing, crawling around in the grass at an inch per hour, or so it felt. And, every now and then moving my hands ever so slowly to use my camera to snatch a couple of pictures for research, and slowly crawling towards the nest that we had scouted out.
Yeah.
I finally reach it, and with a shaking hand, I'm kind of grabbing eggs and putting them in my bag.
Yep.
I reach for the third egg. I was supposed to get 3 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, from my radio, comes a "Pakak!" And, not from an actual bird, but,
Okay.
well, my teammates. And, of course, there was a Basan directly in front of me. It turns around, sees me fumbling with the eggs, and apparently it decides against flight and for fight, and inhales. And I think this is it. I'm lying on the floor. I'm not, jumping out of the way or anything.
Accept your fate. Yeah.
I'm accepting my fate. I'm saying goodbye in my head.
Okay.
And flames engulf me. Everything turns bright orange, and I'm screaming, and it takes me a second to realize. And here is the one detail I left out in the description earlier.
Okay.
Their fire breath isn't actually real fire. It is cold fire. It doesn't burn anything. It isn't even hot. It's just for show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So,
Fair.
after a while, I stopped screaming and realized that I was not, in fact, dead. My radio is just full of laughter from my teammates.
As I would expect, yeah.
Yeah. And then I just basically stand up and try to get out of there while a whole bunch of them start flaming, quote unquote, me from all sides, and a couple of them were picking at me, which was, painful, but not the mortal danger I believe it was.
Okay, I can see why they're quite docile, and they're not that dangerous. Then they kind of
Yeah.
are, but they're not.
Yeah, they're slightly larger chicken with a hankering for showmanship.
Fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
that's still enough to kind of scare away potential predators, isn't it, really?
Definitely.
Yeah, like most of the time you're not hanging around to find out that it's cold fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was sad, and yeah, that was apparently a kind of initiation ritual in the with that specific team, and yeah.
Yeah, that would explain the order that came down not long after you had been in with the organization. If I work out roughly when that would have been, to not mess around with the handbooks.
yeah. That might have been it.
Yeah.
You know, you have to write reports, and
yeah.
You know, it was people then questioned why I didn't know that I wasn't gonna die, and you know.
Well, I mean,
Things
it's certainly a welcome to the organization.
Oh yeah, it definitely was. I didn't live that down for years, actually. Anyway, cutted off the axe in relative safely, mildly picked, but otherwise fine. And yeah, they are living a life in luxury, breathing or fire breathing at some kind of sensors and whatnot every now and then. But yeah, I think they're having a pretty good life with us, and I am mentally scarred forever.
Yeah, but it's to be fair, it's a really good way of introducing the fact that some of the creatures we deal with, they have kind of defense mechanisms, not necessarily offensive mechanisms, just ways to deter people. But I will say to those of you who are listening, please do not take that as a reason to go to Japan and try and get yourself a fire chicken.
Yeah, please don't.
We will have something to say about that. You will have a visit from a warden, maybe even myself or Chris. You will be in trouble.
Definitely. I mean, Japan isn't a huge country. We are monitoring most of the colonies, so your chances are not very good.
Very true. Yeah. Our wardens in Japan are, without trying to be too culturally insensitive, they're ninjas.
Yes, definitely.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. No, they are obviously highly trained, and they will catch you if you.
They're highly trained ninjas. Exactly.
They will prevent you.
They will prevent you and you one of these things.
One of these things. But where's a good place where people can be prevented and ended? Yep, that's where I'm going.
Well, I'm not sure that's where I want to go, but you know.
But it's definitely somewhere where you, the listener, want to go.
Yes, you definitely want to go to our Discord, which is linked in the episode description and podcast description and basically everywhere. Mm-hmm. You can join our community and have discussions with ninjas, maybe not, cannot confirm or deny. You can talk about creatures we have talked about or request new ones, because between Jack and I, we have seen a lot of things, and chances are we can tell you a little bit about them.
Definitely. And as well as joining our Discord, you can always just support us by liking and following and giving ratings and 5 stars and thumbs up and every wonderful thing on the actual podcast on your podcast app of choice. We would love you to answer questions and just get involved. We're always looking for people to promote us to the wonderful algorithm gods, because the algorithm is the god of this type of thing.
All hail the algorithm.
All hail the algorithm, or Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, so give us that juicy engagement.
Excellent. And also, if you're interested in listening to our back catalogue, we have a whole host of evergreen episodes, so you do not need to follow them in order, but fair warning, there are a few little in-jokes that keep cropping up. So they might not make too much sense, but choose an episode, choose a creature you're interested in, choose a creature you haven't ever heard of, and just enjoy yourselves while we tell you all about the world you are not aware of.
Exactly. I don't think I have anything useful to add, so I think there's only one thing left to say, and that is goodbye.
Goodbye.